You know that cocoa prices are getting attention and going up when the BBC shows that overall inflation's higher than it's been for over a year, and they attribute this to cocoa. And cocoa prices definitely are going to go up, there's no doubt. The BBC thinks it's because of bad weather, they think it's because of disease, they think it's because of cocoa mismanagement, governments, etc. I think there's a more structural problem in addition to all of those. And it's a big structural problem for big food. Big food has done an amazing job over the last 50 years. Even though the population's expanded exponentially, we've somehow found a way to get enough calories so that everybody's not got enough, they've actually got more than enough, and that's a problem in and of itself. But the problem with this is that it's come at the expense of massive commoditization of food, plus increasing consolidation of supply. So there's a handful of small companies who control almost everything. Put this in context, there's a group in the industry who are known as ABCD. Read the blog for more. But ABCD, these four companies control 70 to 80% of all the basic foodstuffs that you've ever heard of. Wheat, corn, maize, soy, etc. And chocolate's exactly the same. There's only one of those ABCD which is actually a chocolate, that's Cargill. But there's a couple of others, there's Cacao and there's also Olam. And these guys too have commoditized cocoa, and they've also secured massive supply dominance. So for example, Ghana, second biggest country growing cocoa in the world. Cocoa Bod told us at least 60 to 70% of the sales go to those three. This is a really big structural problem. The real problem with cocoa is that even though the consumers have been blessed with wonderfully low prices for the last 40, 50 years, it's come at the expense of the farmers. It's the farmers who are bearing the cost of this. What I mean by this is that the IMF thinks that you need over $2, $2.15 a day to live on in West Africa. That's the bare minimum. Cocoa farmers, however, if they're male, don't get paid 80 cents. If they're female, they're lucky if they get 30 cents. So they're not incentivized to do much except slash and burn the rainforest. They're not incentivized to go into it. The average cocoa farmer is over 50 now. The median age in those countries is 18 to 20. And they're not planting new trees. So lots of cocoa trees, yields going down because they're over 30, 40 or even 50 years. So we've got a really big problem here where suddenly we've got a shortage. And it's being brought about by this dramatic underinvestment in cacao, but it's structural. Craft chocolate's a bit different. Whereas commodity cocoa prices have moved from 2,000 to over 10,000 in the last 18 months, craft chocolate prices have always been higher, starting at say 4,000 or 5,000 and going up to 10,000 and maybe sometimes a little bit more. Now cocoa farmers are able to get over 10,000, sometimes 12, 14, 15,000 for their beans. This is a massive sort of challenge for the craft chocolate makers, because for craft chocolate makers, 70% plus of a dark chocolate bar's ingredients are going to be cocoa. It's not like mass-produced chocolate where the main ingredient is sugar. And cash flow wise, it's really hard for them. So remember, they buy the beans and then 12, 18 months later is when they actually sell the bars. Not like big chocolate at all. So here's the good news. In commodity, cocoa farmers are hopefully going to get some of those benefits. They're not getting much of the benefits. You can see that in the earlier posts, but they are getting paid a bit more. And it may hopefully encourage a little bit more investment, maybe some young people to come into it. But that's an if. The incentives still aren't really aligned. Craft chocolate's very, very different. So what's always happened in craft chocolate is that the farmers and the makers have formed long-term agreements and contracts. And that's because if you want to have a great chocolate bar, the farmers are where it all happens. You've got to have the farmers committed. They've got to want to basically grow great cocoa, not just today, but also tomorrow. And the only way you can do that is through paying them properly and long-term contracts. So yeah, I'm really sorry. Craft chocolate prices are going to go up. Go back 18 months before, we had lots of craft chocolates which were under £5. Now, 2 or 3 makers are doing it. It used to be that most of our bars were under £8. Now, it's pushing 10 for many makers, and it's going to go up, especially for the US makers. I'm very sorry, but the good news is this is about an alignment of incentives which works for everybody. It's better for the farmers, it's better for the makers, it's better for you, it's better for the planet. So if you can, please share the love and please try and get people to think about craft chocolate.